Time again for a little day drinking and tarot, and we are switching things up this segment, and we are going to be imbibing at Casa Stacy, and you'll find out why when you find out what our card is today. So let's talk a little transformation and tarot and get our day drinking on. So today's tarot card is the Hermit. And the Hermit is a very interesting card that really lends itself to self-care, self-awareness, being kind of hermity in your cave. And I thought I would share with you guys what I do when I am in hermit mode. And I am showing you my house. This is where I hermit, and we're actually going to go and spend some time at the pool. So let's chat a little hermit energy at the pool. So one of the most important things about a pool day when I am hermiting is a wine decanter and a wine container that is glass free so that I can enjoy my wine by the pool. And spoiler alert, this is the wine that we are going to be talking about today. So I wanted to show it to you guys beforehand, and then we're going to take a walk to the pool and enjoy it. This is a happy place for me, and always a place that I like to come to when I am needing a little self-care, a little checkout. Also, water is, I want to say, a conduit and a cleanser. So when there's a lot that's on my mind, a lot that's on my heart that I can't seem to get rid of, or when I'm in a reflective mood, this is where I come, because the pool cleanses it all. Water cleanses it all away. And being in the desert, I no longer have access to the beach in the way that I used to. So this is a different way to cleanse, to purify, and to really come into my core space and center. It's quiet, it's peaceful, there's nobody around. I'm only hearing the birds chirping, the sound of the wind hitting the water, and the occasional neighbor's car riding by. It's the perfect way to hermit. So I'm at the pool, and it is time to start my hermit day and my hermit journey. So let's talk a little bit about the Hermit in terms of transformation. The Hermit card, as I mentioned before, is a deep dive into our self-awareness. It is the opportunity for us to tune out the world for a minute or two, tune into self, source, to really connect. Sometimes it's about self-care, not always, but when we are tuning into ourselves and we are determining what is next for me, who am I now, who am I becoming? Do I like who I am now? Do I like who I'm becoming? Are there things that I need to know or consider to shift those things up for me, because I am a co-creator. I am in charge of the experiences that I choose to have in this lifetime. And the Hermit energy, when this card comes up in a reading, when this card comes up for you in your transformation, it's an invitation to do a deep dive. It's symbolizing that you've come through a particular hurdle, you've come through a particular journey, but things are starting to shift up. Things are starting to change. And you want to be on top of the change. You want to be, I want to say, in charge of your own life, in charge of your own, for lack of better words, your own destiny. And I do not use that word lightly. So when we're talking about that Hermit card, I have this really cool book that I got years ago, and it's from a woman in the UK. And I had to look far and wide. So apparently there is another person out there like me who enjoys wine and tarot. And this is kind of like a little cheat sheet book. So because I chose not to go out to a winery or a wine bar today to really bring the point home about what it means to hermit and to do that self-awareness journey, that deep dive for enlightenment and for clarity, I didn't have someone who could pick it out for me. So what was interesting about it is they recommend a grape called the Saint Laurent. And as a white version, it's Saint-Melon. And I don't have either of those grapes. I don't have either of those bottles of wine with me. But the closest thing that I had today is a bottle of a Jaune Blanc. And it is a French wine. And I'm drinking a Carol and Seigneur 2023. And let me just read to you some of the characteristics of this wine. I have not tasted it yet, so we'll have to see what it's going to taste like. But this is what they say. Saint Laurent, like the Hermit, can be a bit elusive, but is well worth the search. This lesser-known Austrian grape tends to have low yield, high sensitivity to the elements, and a need for deep, rich soil. When we're nurturing ourselves, when we are doing that deep dive, we need to be in the richness of ourselves, of our own energy. We need to enrich and enliven our body because we are seeking that self-awareness. We are seeking that clarity and alignment in our lives. It reaches into the dark depths to better orient its growth in its own hermit-like path towards actualization. It looks dark and brooding in the glass, yet is light in body with intense aromatics and a fruit-forward palate. You might catch drifts of tart cherry and cloying smoke, a revelation slightly obscured. It has considerable acidity that lights up the wine and makes it possible to go the distance in aging. So the white version of this is, she recommends, Semillon, is a famed component of white Bordeaux, where it makes its foggy home. The flavor profile has underripe stone fruit and hints of citrus, with a notable scent of beeswax and fragrant honey. With the right balance, these wines can be highly agreeable and appreciate in meaning and richness. So I looked through my whole collection, and as you guys see, I have a lot of different wines that I've collected over the years, but I tend to be a red wine girl, so finding the white wine is a little bit more challenging. But this Jaune Blanc seemed to fit the bill. It talked about its acidic, citrusy notes. It talked about its ambivalence to connect with the world in a predictable way and approaches life in a more unique way. And I thought, well, that's perfect for the Hermit because we are looking for clarity. So bottoms up, let's see what it's all about. Oh, I love it. So there is that, I want to say, that little bit of acid on the first sip. And when we do a deep dive, when we are going into the depths of our soul, when we are having to look within for the why have I chosen this path? Why did I say those things? Why am I feeling the way that I'm feeling? It requires a bit of bravery to go and do that deep dive. And it's not always fun. And I feel like that first little acidic bite reminds us that, yes, there's going to be some joy and sweetness in every sip, but there's also going to be the bravery required to go through the bitterness. We have to go through the bitterness to get to the other side. Let's see what the second sip is like. So it smooths out just a little bit. And I wouldn't call it a buttery feel. It's not like a Chardonnay at all. But I would say it gives a little more sweetness or tenderness to the flavors. And I definitely feel citrus flavors. I feel in particular a lot of grapefruit. And when I think grapefruit, I think a lot of this springtime energy, spring-like energy, cleansing out the body. And isn't that what we are doing in a hermit's journey when we are doing that deep dive? We are cleansing out the body. many things that I could talk about and share with you about my various hermit journeys that have gone on in my life. First of all, the Hermit card is my card, as I happen to be a Virgo, and the Hermit card is the Virgo card. It is a number 9, which symbolizes endings, conclusions, resolutions, but it also is the number of service, being in service to others, being in service to yourself, figuring out the balance of what that all looks like. And the Hermit's journey is really a deep dive into the who am I and who am I becoming. And the one that I've chosen to kind of share with you guys today happened about 2 years ago. And why am I sharing something that happened 2 years ago when we're talking about my transformation now moving forward in this Black Feather Couture Divining a VIP Life? It's because this particular experience paved the way for the who I am becoming right now. And of course, if you've been following me, you know I'm on this Phoenix rising, new baby bird wings wet, ready to take on the world journey. You know, I'm here starting this new life and learning about myself, which lends itself in many ways to a lot of that hermit exploration. But the one that I decided to talk to you about today reflects service to self. And I think we don't talk about that enough. We don't talk about that in ways, and society maybe doesn't support us, especially people who are in service, to say, hey, where are you filling your love cup? Why are you feeling the need to, blow apart your boundaries in order to please this one and that one and the other one, or to help that one or the other one, or to fix a situation? Where are you in all of that? And the journey is something that I haven't shared a lot about, but in 2020, the very end of 2023, it was in December of that year that I got the news that I had a cancer diagnosis. And it was in a space, in an area in my body that was very feminine, very divine feminine, very much my soul goddess, my woman goddess energy. And receiving that diagnosis, the whole world just completely stopped for me. Now, I'm going to say some things that may be a little bit controversial. I want to just be very clear. This is my journey. I am not saying this has anything to do with anyone else. If you have received a cancer journey, OMG, my heart goes out to you. I understand, having to navigate the system and all of those kinds of things and the fears that come up around that. For me, I recognized, not in that specific moment when I heard the news, because it took me a minute to process. I actually had to call the woman up the next day and say, okay, I know you said a bunch of things to me yesterday. I don't remember anything you said after you said you have cancer. Can you go over the information again? But what I realized within about 2 weeks of that particular experience was that I had manifested this cancer in my body. Why did I manifest this cancer in my body? Because for a year to year and a half previous to that, I had been in a major depression, really struggling, and I had put on a ton of weight, as people do. There were a lot of people that put a ton of weight on during COVID. I actually was fine for the COVID part. It was the years afterwards. And it happened as a result of a loss, a shock that I had. And food is, I love food, and food is a coping mechanism for me. So that was something where I was hermiting. I was very much staying indoors. But I wasn't staying indoors because I was seeking clarity. I was staying indoors because I was depressed. I could not find the energy to be able to get myself up for the game. And as a result of putting that weight on, I've always had kind of issues with up and down. And I'm not going to say it's because of my mother. I'm going to say that my mother's weight journey and health journey regarding weight has influenced and impacted me in various deep ways that I've always been, I want to say, aware of and working through and processing. And so this was one of those times where, it just got out of hand. And it's not that my size meant that I was any less of any of the things that I am. And if you were a person coming to me and having this experience, I would be saying to you, we are all beautiful no matter what size or shape we are. You know, the body positivity, that body dysmorphia is so jarring to the soul and just so wrong, just so not true. And yet I had to put that on myself. And what is it that I'm believing? And even though I knew that I was so miserable and so unhappy in my body, the depression was really inhibiting my ability to just do what I knew I needed to do. And so there was self-hatred, self-loathing. There was this desire to go back to another time. There was victimhood around it. And I did not feel sexy. I did not feel in my power. I did not feel comfortable in my own skin. And even though I desired for all of this, creativity, because I wasn't fostering or nurturing myself, I wasn't putting myself in the right soil or the right, I want to say, foundation to nurture that aspect of me, I ended up telling the body inadvertently that I hate you. I don't want to be inside you anymore. I don't want to be in this world. I don't want to be on this planet anymore. And I'm not talking about suicidal ideation. I know it sounds like that's what I'm saying. I didn't feel those things. It was literally just an inability, a lack of capacity to recognize that I choose my own path. I make my own way. I'm the one who gets to decide what shape or size I want to be in. And this is a transformation that I can choose. I just had to get to that space where I could actually choose it and execute the action steps around it. And I really just struggled. And I was very much in resistance. I was very much in, I want to say, self-sabotage around that. And the cancer diagnosis happened, like I said, in a very vulnerable part of my body where I had to have all sorts of people looking in places that, I just really didn't want that experience to happen. And I would say to you, after the cancer journey, there is, I don't want to make it sound too dramatic because I'm okay and everything's fine, but there's a little bit of deformity there. I've changed, I've transformed as a result of this journey. But my point is, thoughts become things, and they become things in such a powerful way when we connect our feelings to them. And because I was in a space of complete and utter self-loathing because of my physical appearance, I couldn't get past that. And my body responded. My body said, okay, this is your reality. This is what you choose to experience. This is the experience that you wish to have because it's the thing that's in your mind all the time. So we're going to give you what it is that you want to experience. And it was a big wake-up call. It was a blessing in many ways because it was the catalyst that I needed. And at that point, I had already begun a health journey that, again, for me, required some weight loss in order to bring more alignment back to myself, my physical, my emotional, my energetic, my spiritual, my everything, my mental, my emotional, all the things in the stuff, right? Even my financial. So I had already done some of that work. I still had some work to go. But it really was that genuine wake-up call to say, we only get this life once. This life in this body. Who am I? Who am I becoming? I have the choice. I have the ability to make or break this experience. And what is that going to look like? So the Hermit journey for me was a big fat wake-up call. Love yourself, take care of yourself, and be really impeccable with your thoughts. Be impeccable with your words. And understand that what we feel on the inside, whether we're trying to fake it till we make it or not, what we feel on the inside is going to be reflected in our external journey. And that's what the Hermit is all about. It's an opportunity for us to, I want to say, get a checkup from the neck up, to give us that opportunity to realign or to align to a new version of ourselves. and we get to choose that. So where in your life are you perhaps needing to realign? Where in your life are you seeking clarity? Are you seeking more enlightenment around that question of who am I choosing to become? One more thing that I wanted to add. The Hermit is a deeply personal, intimate journey. It's the kind of journey that you can only take for yourself by yourself. Other people can support you while you are on the journey, but ultimately only you can do it because it is in you. It is definitely within you. And that is one of the experiences that I feel is so profound and so poignant and important to experience when you are going through a hermit journey of sorts, whether it is, I want to say, self-imposed or the universal frying pan to the head. But it's understanding that this is a journey only you can take. So what has this all taught me? What it has taught me is moving forward on my journey, I need to be really clear with my thoughts, and I also need to be kind and loving and gentle to myself, and that everything that occurs is occurring because I'm choosing it in the end. We can't always choose what crosses our path, but we can absolutely choose how we wish to respond or to react to it. And we can choose to see it as something that is here to help us to become the person that we really, truly want to be. And that is the key. It is our energy temperature check. Where are we at energetically in the collective? Are we mild, medium, hot, or extra spicy? It's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes.
I want my temperature check.
It's getting hot in here. Hello, I'm Stacey, the Black Feather Intuitive, and welcome to this segment of Black Feather Couture, Defining a VIP Life, where we are checking in. It's an energy temperature check. Are we mild, medium, hot, or extra spicy in the collective right now? And no surprise here, we are in extra spicy. And in fact, I want to say it might be a triple extra spicy. It is crazy. And I want to say to you guys, it's important for each of you out there listening to this to take your time to breathe, make sure you're getting enough sleep and rest. And I want to say to you, do a detox from time to time, do a technology detox at this time. If you are finding that there's so much that is coming at you, that you're really having a difficult time being grounded and focused in your life and in the to-do list and your goals and the vision of what you're creating for yourself in your life, definitely check out a little bit from a technology space. Believe me, it'll all still be there when you return. I feel like that's really important. And when we're talking about this sort of triple extra spicy, it's really important to take note that everyone right now is in a state of fight or flight. There's not a soul on this planet. Well, maybe there is a soul or two on this planet if they're living under a rock. But it's not the norm. Let's put it that way. It's not the majority. The majority of individuals right now are in a state of fight or flight. What does that mean? That means survival mode. That means that the body feels like it's in danger. And so the cortisol levels are increasing. Certain aspects of, I want to say clear thinking, clear thought, or expansive thought are shelved for a little while because the body is feeling like it's running from a tiger. And it's important for you guys to understand that concept and to be able to nourish and nurture the body accordingly, to talk to that inner child, to talk to that inner ego voice and say, yeah, there's a lot that's going on that we aren't, we can't predict. We're not sure how to change or fix or, resolve whatever it is that's going on. We are kind of in a limbo holding pattern. I feel like, our soul aspects or our higher selves are, sitting there with the bowl of popcorn, watching, wrapped in, oh my God, what's going to happen next? Because we don't know. But for those of us who are living it, the body is really feeling like, oh my God, I'm running for my life. I'm going to get eaten by a tiger. And I have to figure out a way to get away from this tiger. So understanding that and understanding that there's a component of that is happening within you, whether you're conscious of it or not, the body is responding in those ways because we can tell ourselves all sorts of things. And we also have this, I want to say, this dualistic nature, this other side of, especially for those of you who are love and light, right? It's the, okay, I'm going to stay high vibe and, I trust and I'm in the process of it all. And I'm also alive on this planet, in the world, in this body, witnessing the reality of what I'm witnessing at this time. And OMG, WTF, right? So you're going to be going through that. And every single person that you're interacting with is also going through their own version of, holy fuckballs, I'm being chased by a tiger, I'm going to die. When we have that, what usually happens? People go into I'm going to fend for myself. It's the survival of the fittest, right? There are those people who are brave souls, who have huge hearts, who think of others before they go into that mode and think of themselves. Not everyone is like that. I would like to tell you that, oh yeah, I'm that person. I don't know that I'm that person. I've had certain situations and circumstances that have tested me from time to time, and I've been kind of disappointed in myself. I've learned from those experiences so that when I am in a situation, I'm, conscious and aware of that. But I'm going to just keep it real. If the tiger is coming, as much as I love you, and I'm not it's not like I want to live so badly. I want to say that survival mode kicks in, and I'm not always thinking in the way that I think, the me thinks. It's an instinctual experience. So I want to say nature versus nurture is what is transpiring here. And what we need to do in this environment and in this energy and this frequency is to understand that and to literally be present, to choose to work with our guides, our intuition, our spidey senses, and to say every single day, I'm grounding myself. I'm going to witness what is going on, and I'm going to be responsive to what I'm seeing rather than reactive. I'm going to understand that myself included and everyone else that I'm encountering is very likely in more of that instinctive mode. And as a result, I need to be very intentional, very purposeful about keeping myself present, being conscious of the decisions, the choices that I'm making, the words that I'm using, the action steps that I'm taking, and trust that my instinctual nature will protect me in a physical way if I need that. But I can be more present and aware with how I'm choosing to engage and interact with others. Understanding that others may not be making the same choice to be aware. They may not be in that space. And I'm not feeling like this is, there is all hell breaking loose in certain parts of the world that we're in right now, right? But I don't feel like that's what we're going to encounter in our day-to-day, but I feel like that's the emotional landscape that we are dealing with. And a lot of times people wear the mask and they don't show you on the outside what is actually transpiring on the inside. And I feel like that's what you need to be aware of is the emotional landscape can be a bit of a war zone, can be a bit of I'm being chased by a motherfucking tiger. And what am I doing here? And I need to get out. and I'm going to step on whoever and whatever I can in order to do that. Cut people some slack, give people a little bit of grace around this. And also, this is a reminder to be intentional about keeping yourself present so that you don't have to go into that fight or flight space, that you're acknowledging that the body is feeling that way. You're letting the body know, I'm aware, we've got this, we will sort it out, let's work together symbiotically in order to find working solutions to get through this time or this situation or this process or this feeling or this conversation or this event. Okay. And I'm going to say that as I'm just sort of feeling out from a timing perspective, whenever you're watching this particular video, you're looking at about a 6-week to a 6-month window of energy. And I know that feels like a big range, but I'm just getting the number 6. 6 is the number of harmony, balance, and alignment. And I feel like that in essence is why this energy is transpiring. And if we understand it and we can tap into that frequency and energy, then we are aligning ourselves to the situation that is happening. And therefore we're working with it. We're going with the tide, not going against the tide. So keep that in mind. And that's going to support you in, I want to say, harnessing your chi, in staying in a higher vibrational energy and frequency while still witnessing and being present for what is, sort of transpiring in the third dimensional world that we are living in at this time. All right, guys, I'm with you. I'm here. I'm in it with you. Hang on to your hats. Be kind to one another. Be gentle and loving to one another. Be the change that you wish to see in your day-to-day. Be the essence, the true essence of who you are. Lead with the true essence of who you are. I don't want to say be human. I want to say be the true essence of who you are and lead with that. So I've got a brand new deck today, and I'm really excited about this particular Oracle deck. And welcome to another segment of Black Feather Couture, Divining a VIP Life. And we are doing oracles today. So for those of you who are unfamiliar, or maybe you're just kind of new to all this fun stuff, the difference between a tarot card and an oracle card is that a tarot card is a system of divination. It is something that has been around for centuries, and each card has its own delineation. There are a number of words associated with each of those cards, but it basically follows a particular pattern, a particular system. Oracles are a little bit different. They give you a little more freedom. They can be about any subject matter or topic at all. You can use different imagery for them. There's just, I want to say it's more creative freedom and creative license to get the information that you need. So what I decided to do today, because this is what my guides were about, my divine dream team was in my ear this morning before I even had a chance to get out of bed. They do that sometimes. Is we're pulling a card today on the question of, what are my guides? What is my divine dream team trying to teach me this month. And I also heard, as I'm saying this now, this moment. So they're trying to keep us present and keep us focused. And I am pulling cards from the El Qui Oracle deck by Melanie Delon and Arwen Lynch Poe. And this is a great deck because it's not a goddess deck, but I'm going to tell you it's got a lot of goddess energy. And I'm in a feisty goddess mood today. So what do our angels and guides want us to know? What is our divine dream team trying to tell us? We have Perpetua, she who aches, sadness, solitude, silent, and withdraw. So this month and this moment, okay, I'm just going to keep it real. We are in an unprecedented time on this planet, an unprecedented time here in humanity. Everything is topsy-turvy. If you happen to be like me and live in the United States, it is the biggest shit show that the United States, I want to say, has really ever seen since maybe the Civil War. There's been so much chaos building up with this. And if you are in other parts of the world, you're also being affected by this because you're watching the nonsense and shenaniganery that's going on and, having your own opinions about all of it and being affected by it in your own country, especially my home country, my birth country of Canada. You poor people are worried that you're going to be invaded, apparently the 51st state. So there's a tendency here when we are overwhelmed, when there is so much information coming at us, when there is so much emotion connected to things, that we tend to isolate. So, and some people don't isolate. Some people are external about expressing that and experiencing that. But a lot of people, and I would wager here that the majority of you who are watching this are kind of looking at all of this and going, okay, let me just take a step back. I don't want any of that shit on me. Thank you so much. Let me have my raincoat before I decide to go out into that. So I feel like what our dream team is, or your dream team, my dream team, our dream team is really trying to convey is bringing awareness to where you fall when there is chaos, when there is the unknown that shows up in your life. Now, I've given it a sort of a broader example. Take it down into your own life, into your own space right now. Where are you noticing that you're retreating, that you're isolating yourself, that you're going into a cold winter? Sometimes isolation is necessary. Sometimes that's part of the hermit's journey, and we just need to recharge. We need to not have noise around us or influencing us. And other times I want to say it's a defense mechanism. It's a defer and deflect. And so you really want to get clear, especially right now, on whether the ego is steering the ship or whether this is your intuition, that you're listening to yourself. Your self-awareness is saying to you, take a step back, right? Sadness and solitude. So interesting that sadness comes up here and the solitude comes up here. Solitude is not a bad thing. Solitude is the opportunity to clear away the noise, clear away the clutter, and really get connected with self. That's quite frankly the only way that we're able to enhance our channel, our psychic channel, and really feel comfortable with connecting with our internal guidance, our inner guidance. But there is sadness that comes when we have too much of this, or when it is, I want to say, not self-imposed, when it is something that is, when we're in a place of solitude for too long. Or it's, I went through this a couple of years ago, and I know a lot of people did, where I went from having a really tight-knit, fairly large group of friends. And in a very short period of time, it whittled itself down to almost nothing. And that was not self-imposed. That was life bringing more solitude to me when I wasn't really expecting it or necessarily wanting the solitude, but now suddenly finding myself not feeling overly connected to a lot of people and having to to sort of reinvent myself or find out why this was happening. What is the frequency shift that's occurring that I need to be aware of so that I can match the vibrations of individuals that I really do want to connect with as I'm moving forward. So there's sadness in that. There's loss in that. There's sadness in solitude, but there can also be a lot of peace in solitude as well. So bring awareness to where you're at with this in your life. What areas of your life on an individual level are you maybe doing a self-imposed isolation or solitude, or where are you inadvertently or subconsciously putting yourself in those situations where it's actually not what you want, not what is desired. I want to say acknowledging sadness and then turning that sadness into joy, right? This always comes up when we are in a form of transformation, when we are letting an old version of ourselves go. So I feel this is going to resonate with a lot of you out there, that there are aspects of yourself that are no longer. And this card is coming through, and I feel like our divine dream teams are saying, trust in the process. Don't resist the release of what is leaving your life. Take the time to be present with yourself. Take the time for some solitude and inner reflection around that, because it is about an energetic frequency shift that's going to serve you much better in the long run if you don't get in your own way. Wow. Okay. So let's acknowledge the aches that we feel. And I feel like we're talking emotional aches that we are feeling here. Although for some of you, it might resonate in a more physical way. Acknowledge those aches. And I want to say, really just take some time this week. Take some time today, if you can, after this video, and throughout this month to acknowledge them, to maybe go within and ask them questions. What is it you're trying to show me? How can I release you with love? How can we turn that frown upside down? And not being sarcastic and smarty pants about it, being genuine. Ask yourself, ask your body what you want, because your body wants to help you. This is about growth. We're outgrowing and growing into, right? Outgrowing the old and growing into the new version of ourselves. Be aware of it. Choose it. Embrace it. That's what I say. Embrace it. All right, guys, that is our Oracle for this month. As always, sending you guys so much love, so much support. If you are struggling at all, please click on the link below. Book a session with me. I've got some really amazing, extremely powerful Phoenix Journey sessions, especially the one on soul's purpose, that can really help us out when we are in this kind of situation. So I'm here for you and would love to be of service. Take care, guys, and transform well.